What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Quad Shot Podcast. As always, we're stoked to be here. Today, we are dialed in. Roan, what's going on over there? How you feeling?
Hey, kid, what's going on? Good to be back for another episode, and we're doing well. We're hanging in there. A little tired, not gonna lie. It's woke up early for the pod Sunday morning.
What time do you go to bed?
Midnight.
You went to bed at midnight. What time did you wake up?
1. No, I actually think 1. 7.
So you're off 6 hours right now.
6 hours, but
does 6 do it for you, or?
Oh no, 6 doesn't do it for me, kid. Kid, I need 8.5 to 9.
Yeah, I need 8.
Yeah, but anyways, a big gulp. Woke up this morning. My stand. I didn't have time to go to my regular coffee shop. That really hits. So I was like, "Fuck! All right, I gotta go to the local 7-Eleven, get a big gulp. Cheap, $2, but the quality of the bean, isn't there. So I think that's maybe why I'm still feeling a little bit like, I need something else to.
Is it burnt?
Kick on. So, yeah, it's just sweet. It's just like the mocha.
Like
it's
sugar.
like the French vanilla latte. Yeah, sugary.
More like a sugar. So wait, why don't you have a bean at home, like a nice bag, whole bean that you grinder, maybe like a French press or something?
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't invest in one of those, but
you could get like a nice one of those Chemex drippers. You seen those the drip coffees? You get a whole bean, because the whole beans, they last longer when you keep them whole. Vin taught me that. Then you get a grinder, and then you just grind up the amount that you want to use, right? So I think it's like half a cup or something like that when you want to do a Chemex drip. And then you do a pour over, right? So you pour over the hot water, boom, drip, 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 drip. And the next thing you know, dude, you're dialed in, right?
Yeah, bro, I got to get one of those from the crib, don't you think?
I think you'd save a lot of time and money, but that's because I know you like to go out and see your boys at a Brootsies. We talked about Triple Shot D last week.
Yeah, Triple D, my guy D. Yep. We talked about the market. We talked about what's ebbing and flowing, what stocks are up and what stocks are down.
Yep.
I like to see my guys, and like it's part of we're building this community out here, and we're really elevating San Diego. So we're gonna have to go ahead.
I don't want you to take away from that whole experience, but I think every now and again it'd be good to say, "Oh, I got the Colombian bean in the cabinet, honey. Let me cook it up." You know what I mean? So I gotta pour over on the way. Breakfast in bed.
100%. Dude, that's an unbelievable, and that's a perfect take. And I think I'm going to take you up on that, brother. I'm super excited to be back here for another episode of Quad Shot Podcast with you, my friend. And we're cooking early, boys. I think it's good. I'm a little tired because we're just going off the top.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean,
what do you got? What's on your mind, kid? You okay over there? I feel like we got a heavy something heavy weighing on you today. What's up?
Yeah, just it's funny in this chapter. I actually did enjoy this chapter, chapter 8. It was a good chapter, but he talked a lot about briefly about the burnout, right? And how it's considered tough to work 80-hour weeks, bring home the chicken at the end of the day, count your cake, you know what I mean? It's tough. Push yourself through that, work extra hard, especially as a man. I feel like that's like a stigma. But then he talked about the burnout that comes along with that and the sustainability. And something I wanted to add to that was also where's the other time for you, right? If you're always doing that and working in this society that we live in, that is like a common thing. Just to make ends meet or survive, you have to work this amount. And it doesn't really leave a lot of time for you to take care of yourself, to exercise, to eat healthy, to cook whole foods, you know what I mean? And do all these things that are very, very good for you. And a lot of people feel as if they don't even have the time to perform these acts that are better for them because they're too caught up in just trying to survive, trying to live. Now, for me, luckily, I am not in that position. I actually am very good at setting boundaries and finding balance in my life and creating time and space to do the things necessary to take care of myself, which I'm proud of myself for creating that within myself. Because I noticed the benefit. I noticed the benefit. And my job as a barber, you know, I can make good money, but also you can kind of create your own schedule depending on what barbershop you're at, but also like you feel inclined to your clients, right? So there might be some pull. Like today I'm going in on my day off. This is Sunday and I'm doing 2 haircuts. I was really, really busy last week. Couldn't really fit anyone in. And the week prior, I was sick for 2 days and I'm actually still trying to catch up from that. So it's interesting, man. You know, you feel inclined to fit these people in because they pay your bills in a sense, right? So, and the busy setting of the barbershop that I'm in, it's very easy to get caught up in that, right? And the people that I work with, right? The competition, the long hours, you know, just the proving yourself, the ego, the masculinity of the whole barbershop alone. But it's very interesting. But I am good at creating that boundary and that balance and taking care of myself and doing things that I enjoy because it's a very important part of life. You can't always get caught up in that grind because then you lose yourself through it all, right? Especially if that grind is something that you don't love to do.
Yep.
And that's another thing in this day and age, man. It's a lot of people are working jobs they don't love. It's hard to find that, I feel like. It's very hard.
Very hard to find that. I think, you know, I've heard a lot of things on the internet and you'll hear these Instagram reel clips or whatever, and you're like, most of the time, you know, people don't find that. Like, they don't find that job that's lucrative enough to be able to sustain it, and it's not to sustain something they love to do, right, and provide for their family. But if you do find that, maybe the 20% of Americans, or however, you know, whatever the percentage is, I'm not sure, but don't quote me on that. But I think it's a fascinating thing. If you love what you do, that's great. You know, that makes for a healthier relationship with work and your life and overall, right? You can make ends meet doing what you love. I mean, support your family or whatever your ambitions and goals and desires. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I hear where you're coming from, man.
Yeah, and that will actually lead me into the buzz of the day this week, and I have the buzz of the day. And
excited for this one.
This one came for, I'll give you the backstory after. I'm going to just lay out the quote that I curated for this week. So buzz of the day this week is create space, find your balance. It's a simple quote, but it hits home. Create space, find your balance. So this one came from a day this week at work. Showed up 8 a.m. I get there and I don't sit down until 12:30 for my lunch. I took 10 minutes because it was so busy. Got right back into the mix. And then I didn't sit back down until I got into my truck to leave work. And it was like 7:45. That's right. So
Jeez, dude.
Yeah, that put me home at like 8 o'clock. And I got home. Actually, it was probably about 7:30. I got home at 7:45, right? So I got home and, you know, my girlfriend she had a busy day too. So we were like, oh, we got to get dinner ready. So we started chopping everything up and I threw it in the oven. And then I looked outside. It was still light out and I looked out the window at the pond and it was pretty calm. And I was like, you know what, man? I'm going to go cast a few lines out, right? So I grab my fishing pole. I hook up my Gary Yamamoto bait weedless, right? It's that time of year. Got to go weedless. And I'm just standing on the dock, man. And I don't catch anything. I probably cast, 8 times, just breathing, looking at the clouds blowing in the wind. The sun's, setting. So beautiful light, birds, everything was just so beautiful and peaceful and calm. And my day was so hectic and busy and, moving like crazy. I'm having a different conversation with a different person every 30 minutes. It's talk, talk, talk. And then there's 4 other people around me doing the same thing. I only took 10 minutes for my lunch and I was standing for 12 hours straight,
Yeah.
And then I come home. Dinner's cooking in the oven. I'm breathing, casting out the lines. It's beautiful. I feel calm. I'm at peace. I'm letting my mind just relax. And I look down at the little boat there that she has at her dock, and the couple days prior is heavy rain, so it's filled with water. So I go, all right.
Okay.
I stop casting those lines out. I, sit down next to the boat and I start bailing out the water. One might see that as a daunting task that they don't really want to do, but I use it as an opportunity to just be by myself, with myself, and do the task at hand, and just, appreciate that I get to do this. And I don't know. It was just it was a really nice moment. And went back inside, washed my hands and ate dinner and went to bed. It was like I had no... If you look at it, so before work that day, obviously, I like to go to the gym before work. So I was up, I went to the gym, I had that time for myself. Also, I want to point out that is time that I created for myself, right? Because if someone works 8 to 8, it's easy to have an excuse and say, no, I worked a 12-hour day. I don't have time to go to the gym. No, I worked a 12-hour day. I don't have time to cook a whole meal, a whole food meal, right? I don't have time to eat a whole food lunch. Okay, well, guess what? The night prior, I went to bed. I got in bed at 8:30. It was still fucking light out. I was asleep by probably 9:15, okay? I woke up at 5. I made my smoothie. I went to the gym, and I worked out for like an hour, okay? I'm home by 6:30. I cook my breakfast, whole food breakfast, right?
Okay.
And I cook my lunch for the day, whole food lunch. And I shower and I get ready for work and I go to work. Okay. So now I have a beautiful meal that I've prepared for myself for lunch. I have already eaten my breakfast. I got my tea. Okay. And I'm setting myself up for success. I'm putting good food in my body and I'm giving myself the time to exercise. And now when I get home, I'm fucking exhausted, but I still go out and make that time to decompress, right? I gotta treat my mind good too. I gotta give my mind that time, right? Not just my body with physical exercise. I gotta give my mind that time. So I go and give my mind that time while dinner's in the oven. Whole food meal, okay? I'm not fucking going to McDonald's on the way home, right? This is so important, dude. I'm not kidding. This is why I wanted to bring it up, because this is what makes the difference in my life for myself. Yes, I worked that long day and I could easily just throw in the towel and say, I have no time to go to the gym. I have no time to eat these whole foods. But you create the space and you find your balance, right? And you find that balance. You're not doing so much that you fucking burn out, just like the book talked about, right? Because if I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and then that night I go to bed at like 11 p.m., what does that leave me? 5 hours of sleep. I'm going to burn out fast off 5 hours of sleep. 1 week, I'll probably be sick the next week. You know what I mean? So you need to try these different things and find your balance. Find what works for you, but create the space and stop making excuses. Because you can go to the gym, even if you work long hours. You can eat whole foods, even if you work long hours, right? You need to work the long hours to pay your bills and pay for the gym membership, pay for the groceries and all these things. But that's life, right? That's life. You want to make life easier on yourself, then you got to take care of yourself. That's number one. Number one, life will be easier if you take care of yourself. It might seem hard to get up and go to the gym, but through time, longevity, health, all these different things, you showing up and going to the gym, you're making that difference for your health. It's going to make life easier. So I wanted
love that, dude. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, just taking a hit of this yerba here, kid. Come on.
How is it this morning?
Kind of like a big gulp, you know? Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was a powerful moment through this week. And yeah, we kind of skipped our weekly check-in. I like when we do those. Do you want to cut the buzz of the day there and then revert back? How was your week? What's going on?
I love it. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head for buzz of the day, dude. I can very relate to that. Like, anytime, in those 24 hours during the day, it's actually less than that, if you take into consideration everything else you have to do, right? So it's really not 24 hours, but it's so easy to skip out, right? It's so easy to throw in the towel, right? And I think what makes a successful and versus unsuccessful person is someone like yourself who does, even though you're working 12-hour days, you're carving out time to prioritize your health, cooking a meal that is organic, whole foods, not McDonald's. I think it really it is a test to your character and well, more so I would say your discipline, and your mental toughness and wherewithal to push through those feelings of, and there's probably times where after a long day at the barbershop, you just want to go, evap or go, oh no, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just throw in something in the microwave and call it a day. But, where's that going to get you, right? So, yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. And I think I'm trying to do a better job of that as well, and creating space for the things that I know are good for me. And I think it's easy when you live alone. You have all these different people around and you have all these different things I could be doing. Sometimes I choose the more fun activity over sometimes the activity that I need to do.
That's a good point.
So it's a good reminder to prioritize yourself and make sacrifices. And some of the time you're not really going to want to cook that whole food meal, right? But it's a commitment to yourself to be able to do that and not give in to those little voices in your head and have self-control, have discipline. A lot of people don't have that. So, but yeah,
anyone can obtain it though.
Yeah, anyone can obtain it. That's right. It's a practice, learn trait, right?
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point about the the desire for the other things that pop up in life, right? The influence of other people, like, yo, come out. We got Aussie bro hitting the line. It's Friday at night, and he's like, yo, you want to go hit the bar? Because of my consistency of taking care of myself in the way that I do, I know that if I throw my routine off of balance that much, and because I work Saturdays, if I go out Friday night, I go socialize, which isn't a bad thing. Going out and socialize is not a bad thing, right? And I have a couple drinks, and then I got to wake up and go to work on Saturday. Because of my consistency and taking care of myself in the way that I do, it's going to throw me completely off balance. I'm going to feel that pretty heavy, And
yeah,
I don't know. It brings up another good point. So thank you for saying that. Now I can create the space at an appropriate time to go out and socialize and have a couple of drinks. And it's not going to interfere with my routine and my schedule that I've implemented to take care of myself, because going out and socializing is also a part of taking care of yourself. There's just an appropriate time to do it.
Time and place.
Right. And you can't let it interfere with the things that you know you have to do to take care of yourself. So I'll go out on a Saturday night. I got Sundays off, right? Little recover. But we've talked about this too before. It's like you go out on Saturday night, you have a couple of drinks.
Kind of.
Yeah, and then you kind of just chalk Sunday. You know what I mean? But that's the balance, right? I love going out. I love seeing people I haven't seen in a while, and, you know, peppering them hard and just cooking them. You know what I mean? Like, it was Mayhew's birthday on Thursday.
Was it?
Yeah, Thursday, this past week.
Shout out our guy Mayhew. Happy birthday, brother.
Yep.
Much love.
Happy birthday. So it was a special occasion. And Friday, I wasn't able to do it Saturday because I think Thursday was actually the day that I had it was either Wednesday or Thursday, the day that I used for Buzz of the Day. But anyways, Friday came along and I said, hey, after work, why don't we just go to dinner? So went to dinner.
Where do you guys go?
Pelham House patio. It was all right. I want to try the rooftop there, but anyways.
That's where Bren used to work.
Yeah, it was all right. We got like a couple things there, and we didn't really like the vibe. And he was like, you want to bounce, go somewhere else? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we had dinner reservations at 7:15. We didn't sit till 8. We ate real quick. I got 2 drinks there, right? This is Friday night. I got 2 drinks. And we ended up leaving. And by the time that we left, because we sat so late, we were headed to like this place called Clancy's. I've never been. Their kitchen was closed. So our only option, now we're all hungry because we didn't want to stay at the Pelham House and eat the food there. We're all hungry. Our only option was Chapin's Fish and Chips. You ever been there? It's kind of like
not for food. I've been there out like for at night in the summer though.
Yeah, exactly. So summer night, it's like 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30. Everyone's starting to, you know, come out of the woodworks and start to, you know, pregame or whatever. The night's beginning. So we sit down. Our server's name is Izzy. I'm peppering Izzy like pretty hard.
Okay.
Shout out. I go, Izzy, it looks like you're very, very busy. We're going to make things easy for you here. We already know what we want. You're just cooking her. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
Just, you know, doing the routine shit. But dude, there were so many people there. I didn't recognize a soul. So many people there. Place was like mobbed. Live music. You know, everyone's out having fun, you know, having a good time. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to start cooking people. I'm just going to start cooking people. So there's this guy, dude. He was standing there doing like the sway. He was holding 2.
Oh,
he was holding
like
2.
Who's that guy in Vegas? Who's that guy in Vegas?
Leaner.
Leaner.
Yeah. So this guy was swaying.
Hunchback.
He was double fisting Coronas, and he had his phone like this on speaker, and he was just like swaying back and forth, like yelling to his phone. I'm sitting down at the table. I make eye contact with him. I just point at him. I go, yo, you remember me? And he's like, I'm like, dude, it's been so long since I've seen you. And all of a sudden he's like, cut the act. We don't know each other. And he just like gives me one of these with his phone in his hand.
Really?
Anyways, dude.
He wasn't about it?
I was cooking people really hard. But yeah, that was a Friday night. Went out, and Saturday, dude, I felt the effects.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah. It was just like going out. Social activity kind of drains you a little bit. Cooking, you know what I mean? Shitty food.
Yeah.
Shitty food, man.
Was it? What did you get?
At Chapin's, we got like it was like a Philly cheesesteak. The cheese was like saran wrap on that thing, dude. It was so gross.
Dude, for as beautiful and as popular as the Cape is, dude, we need better food, dude. We need better restaurants there. Like, it's dog shit.
Yeah. But, yeah. You know? So went out, felt the effects.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it
was Mayhew's birthday.
Yeah. Big Mayhew, big supporter of the pod. Did you get him his shirt, by the way?
I forgot to bring it to dinner. Christ.
Okay, well, hey, I'm glad we got him out, and yeah, that's an example. You just gave an example of creating space, right, for the things that you prioritize and keeping yourself healthy and fit. And also time for some social hours, some fun, Friday night. So there's the balance. So, and I feel like you do a good job of finding the balance that you need to be successful. So, guys, for everyone out there, it's a good story that we can relate to. Buzz of the day. Aiden just kind of gave an example of both and how he creates balance and creates space.
Can I ask you a question?
Balance from creating space. Yeah, go ahead.
So staying on this topic, moving to a place like San Diego, right? I'm sure as a listener or viewer right now, you know and have an image of San Diego.
Yep.
Young, nightlife, busy, fast pace, beach, restaurant, this and that, whatever, like very lively place. A place where a lot of young people move because it's just like an epicenter for fun and youth and beautiful weather.
Yep.
So you being in your prime, Roan T, cooking hard. Do you feel as if the influence of San Diego, the people there, has led you astray when it comes to taking care of yourself? Or do you feel like it has put you even further on the path of taking care of yourself? So you feel like you're taking the best care of yourself you ever have in your entire life? Or do you feel like you're kind of on a decline where you need to bounce back due to the influence around you?
Great question. I would say physically, I'm probably strong. I'm probably as strongest I've ever been. Like just like muscle wise, and surfing wise.
Can you attribute that to the amount of workouts and the food that you've been eating,
yes.
or what's the cause?
I would say honestly the diet, and that's another thing. I think I do. There's so many like good food out here, and people wanting to go get food and experience the nightlife or these different restaurants. So much good food. So I'd say the diet hasn't been as on point, but it hasn't been bad. But the exercise has made up for it in terms of the weightlifting, my HIIT training workouts, and my surfing. If I'm not surfing, I'm lifting, and if I'm not lifting, I'm probably going to surf. So, I'm proud of myself. I've created a pretty good balance for myself out here. I don't really go out. I don't really drink. I still have my weekday drinking rule, and I pretty much uphold that every single week. So, it's good, man. I'm proud of the discipline. Myself out here and not getting too carried away, because I feel like it's, like we've talked about after we recap San Diego. I think one of those episodes is, like after you came out and visited, we recapped it, and it's easy to get sucked into the nightlife here. So I'm proud that I haven't done that. And, I don't even think I would like it. That's not my kind of people, like a lot of the SDS, San Diego State University sorority frat guys. So, they're just not. That's mostly what's out in PB. There's a few like older folks, but it's just not my scene. So, I don't know. I kind of like more put together spots, like Little Italy has some great restaurants, some great places. North Park, there's some good options. So, I think I've done a good job kind of regulating that.
Nice. Physical. What about mental?
Mental. I would say surfing is part of that mental practice of just being out in the water, getting away, lifting, working out, sauna, spending, having a cozy night in for myself. I need to do that more, but just like shutting off the lights, lighting my candle, and just kind of lying in bed and relaxing, but yeah, the mental's good. The mental's strong. I'm pretty dialed in, so I don't really let myself get too high or low. So yeah, mental's good. It definitely could use some work, in terms of kind of honing in, because it's so go out here, as you could probably assume. So like we always talk about, it's hard. Not hard, but you got to carve out that time for yourself at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say mental and physical it's a work in progress, early morning for Rome, baby. But yeah, dude, overall, like, just trying to work on balance and healthy boundaries with friends, and yeah, it's good.
Good.
Do you want to get into chapter 8?
Let's do the week recap. How was your week? What's going on with T out there?
Week recap.
I love it.
Probably
check it.
Surfed a ton this past week. Had a really successful work week.
Wait. You called me in like a dream state. You had the best surf session of your life, right? This past week.
100%, dude.
I want to hear more about it. Let's let the viewers in on this.
So when it gets windy, right? All the spots kind of get, onshore, blown out, and they're exposed to wind, right? But there's this place called Tourmaline, and then there's PB Point. But in between both those spots is like this little cove area. So when it gets big, I think it was like 3 to 4 foot. The point was kind of going off. Go ahead.
Is that to the like when we surf Tourmaline? Was that to the right where it gets rocky?
Yeah.
So that was blocking the wind?
It was blocking the wind, that little
and
cove.
Wrapping the point.
Yeah, wrapping a bunch of long rights.
Nice.
And it was awesome because the point was breaking out pretty far, but then like the power and the swell, it was able to build, in the little cove there. So some really, I went out, the guy who posted that story about Pepper and that guy, my guy Jake, he also made me, he's a funny kid.
4.6.
He surfs, and he was like, yeah, just come surf for a little bit. He's like, I don't got long, so I wasn't even going to surf, dude. So it's funny. It's kind of thought about like my best surf session of my life in terms of performance and how many waves I got was a day that I didn't even think was that good and wasn't going to go, So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm like, dude, just another reminder to show up. You never know what it's in store for you,
Yep.
But anyway, showed up. And I'm surprised it was like kind of a hidden gem that day. Not a lot of people were out. The only people that were out were like really, really, truly beginners, dude. Like foam boards, like literally just like going straight or barely getting into waves, like not understanding like how they can get in and paddling and all that. So, yeah, I sat out there and I was like I started being the only one out there. And dude, I got a bunch of sick rides. Like when the rights would suck up off the cove, and it was like probably a 3-foot wave, but it's cool. I pitched in, couldn't really do much. It was just like waiting for it to kind of suck up on the inside. And then it started to like, it started to move faster, it started to kind of have more of a shape to it after I pitched in on some whitewater. And then I did a big, long, like compressed bottom turn, and then up to the lip and then drop back down. But the thing with me though is I stayed in the pocket, and my board, right, it's like a 7.2 Tribute, really fast. It's a really fast board. I just got to learn to ride it right. And I've been doing it wrong with my bottom foot all the way back. Like I can get some really good like bottom turn. I can turn as much as I can and compress, but if I'm in the pocket, I move up a little bit. My front foot's like on, like it's a big board. Mm-hmm. So dude, I didn't even realize I was doing this, but then I like was in a pocket and I started to pump. I just created so much power, like boom, up, boom,
yeah,
boom, just like some sick. I was going so like super fast,
yeah,
and I was just like, oh, that's sick. And then I eventually just kicked out. But what's going on there, kid?
My light's flashing. It's like blinding me. Oh man. Okay.
There we go. But anyways, yeah, dude. So I got so many rides like that where it's just sick.
Dude,
speed.
Foot positioning makes a massive difference on a board, right? So when you're all the way back like that, right? Like you said, it's good for turns. If you want to do like a wrap, you can shift that back foot a little bit and just like really put your, weight back and wrap. Yeah. But once you shift up a little bit, you're allowing yourself for a lot more speed, because when you're laid back like that, dude, what's going on? This light. When your weight's all the way back like that, you're basically stalling out. You're losing a lot of speed. So
yes,
yeah, dude. Once you shift up a little bit, You can still
Dude,
get
I'm
like a
it's
really
game
nice
changer.
turn in. Yeah. And pumping too. I might just have to turn this light
dude.
off, dude.
Yeah, turn it off. That's fine. But dude, yeah, the amount of like, okay, so this is what I said to you. I'm like, dude, if you saw me, if you like were all the way on the inside and were panning like when you saw me up pumping on the wave, you'd have been like, holy fuck. Dude, I looked like I knew what I was doing.
I love it, dude. I love it.
I'm excited to show that off to big AT, baby.
I can't wait to see it, dude. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna make me so happy. Because
big frontside guy.
I pushed you into your first wave, man.
Yep.
It's gonna make me so happy. Nice, dude. So, what else about the week?
Yeah, what else, man? Work's really busy. Just been busy with work. I've surfed a lot. I didn't really. My exercise this past week was a lot of surf. Dude, I gotta figure out what I'm doing with. Dude, it's summertime. All the friends want to hang out. So, like, this is another thing that I haven't been too stoked upon. Like, I've been spending a lot more money out than usual, like on dinner out, even though I have factor meals in the fridge. But it's kind of a balance, right? Because, not a balance. It's factor meals. Like, they're not the best quality. They don't taste the best. But like, so there's so much. That's what I'm saying. There's so much good food, like tacos, like eating like carne asada burritos, or like after a big surf, like protein, like that's, and like I've definitely filled out, you know, because I eat a lot of protein out, but like I'm not getting bigger from factor meals. So maybe it's like
I stopped factor, dude, because I wanted to cook my own meals and choose what ingredients I put into them. Factor has a lot of sodium, a lot of bullshit that I don't want in my meals.
Yeah.
And the portions are way too small. Way too small. Like the amount that I exercise, I need to eat a lot more. So I'd finish a factor meal and feel so like just, ugh, I need more food.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't worth the bang. It wasn't worth the bang for the buck for me.
Yeah. So I'm still doing them, ordering them, you know, but we'll try to figure something else out for that. But, yeah, that was that past week. But dude, yeah, it's pretty simple. I was supposed to have a horseback riding lesson with my new place I'm going to in Lakeside, California. But the woman, my coach or instructor, called me and said, "Hey, there's a fire because it's so East County. It's so like inland that it's so hot now. It's like 90 degrees, and they had like a fire and they were blocking the road. So we have to reschedule. So that's this Tuesday actually, which I'm stoked about.
Nice.
But I got that coming up. Just work's been busy. Got a men's baseball league game today after this, and we're just getting after it, man. We're just living our best life. And what about you? How was your? Talk to me about your week.
Bunch of big gulps. No, no I'm kidding. Oh man. Honestly, man, work this past week was just a lot of work. I think I worked like almost like a 12-hour day every day.
People tipping well?
Yeah, it's summertime, man. You know, it's very, very busy. I hit a leg day with Evan, my personal trainer, this past Friday morning. So I got to be to the gym by 5. I woke up at like 4:30, and dude, he fucking destroyed. It was bad. I'm still feeling it. It's Sunday. It's Friday morning.
Yeah.
Still feeling it. I have a men's soccer league game tonight, so I got to do some.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I got to roll out, foam roll, and stretch a little bit and get ready for that because I'm still super, super sore. But yeah, dude, it was really good. I'd never worked my hamstrings out so hard, and dude, he's so knowledgeable about these things because of my knee injury. He was doing all these different things to really, really help. Not like baby my knee, right? But just take a lot of the strain off it. Like we're still strengthening everything around it and doing even stuff to strengthen the knees as well. But we're taking a lot of like the strenuous part of exercises out of it without avoiding the exercise itself and still targeting the muscles that we have in mind. So he's been very, very helpful and I love it. I love doing once a week with him, man. It's nice. Anyone who works out in the gym, no matter like how experienced you are, I would definitely recommend like looking into just seeing a trainer once a month or once a year. Just try it once. It's they got a lot of info. That's what they do. They study this shit. They live and breathe this shit, and you'll learn a lot. It's very cool. So put the ego aside and do it. It's worth it.
Yeah. A question for you, just kind of off topic, but I'm glad you're getting in there and actually utilizing the personal trainer. I didn't even ask you about that or how that's going, so that's good to hear, dude. Leg day is super important. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nauset Fitco, right?
Yeah.
Have you been seeing anyone that you and I would know, like from high school or anyone?
In there so early, dude. The only person that you would know that I see in there is Chase King.
Really? He goes early?
He goes early. Dude, what an endurance athlete this guy is, man. Crazy. His endurance is, his endurance is nuts, dude.
What does he do?
He's always just like sprinting out some like crazy cardio. And like, dude, the other day I was leaving. It was probably like 6:30 and I was leaving the gym. And he was just outside with a massive tire on the ground, just smoking it with a hammer over and over and switching sides and just like, no, dude, he's always in there. He's always getting after it. I love seeing that shit. So, I think that's
what's he doing for work?
He's a firefighter in East Ham, I think.
East Ham? East Ham or Wellfleet, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. Do you want to, we got a few more minutes here.
Yeah, let's get into chapter 8. Let's break it down. This is a great chapter. Really good chapter. Dude, he gave so many like examples and exercises that you can implement to start doing this, doing the things that he's been talking about, like the whole book, which is awesome.
Do you want to, or I guess, let me take it away first here.
I'm just pulling up the notes real quick, T. Here we go. Chapter 8. Can you read the chapter name, please?
Keep your mind steady, boys. Keep your mind steady.
And I loved reading this chapter. I read it this morning prior to the podcast. I love reading this chapter after experiencing like the buzz of the day because they were so connected. So why don't you get things going for us, Rowan?
Let's get it going. Let me pull up my notes, kid. Here we go.
Come on.
Yep. Okay. Chapter 8. Let's touch on the first example. He kind of talked about the first story. So he talked about a test. It was a very hot piece of iron, I believe. He tested on subjects and how they experience pain.
A painful probe experiment.
Painful probe. So really, he did this on Buddhist monks who are obviously amazing at controlling their mind and their emotions and separating one from the other, right? And then he did it on just like regular people. And he noticed that the Buddhist monks felt less pain than the rest of the test subjects. Because they had the ability to accept and moderate reactions to painful events as part of their practice. So it's called emotional regulation, and they separated pain from the experience, right? And I thought that was very neat because, it gave me a flashback. So I have some tattoos. I know it's different, right? But I'm using this and...
Do you flash back to tattoos, dude? That's exactly what I flashed back to as well.
Yeah. And it's funny. I use the tattoo experience, and for me, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting out of this. I want to get this done. Am I gonna fight this and be like clench up, like, oh, I feel so painful? No, sit there, relax, and I always try to have productive time. I always try to turn that time, like when I was getting tattoos, into like come up with something like, with a great idea in my head, or like not push through. I literally just accept it. Yep. And it's crazy that this is actual, an actual practice or test. And it brought me back to, okay, I was doing the same thing. I was kind of leaning towards separating the pain from the experience in terms of what these monks did. So I was happy to hear that, because when I've been getting tattoos, you can't fight it. If you do, you're going to have a miserable experience and you're going to want to leave. So accept it. Yeah. It's the only way it's the only thing you got, right?
Yep.
So that's what came to me in the first place. I don't know how you felt about that. Or...
I actually connected. I do the same thing during the tattoo experience as well. It's interesting. I use it as a time to, I take the opportunity, right? And I use it to my advantage. What other time are you sitting under the gun experiencing pain for 4 hours straight? That type of pain. Constant pain. There's really no other experience like it.
Nope.
No anesthesia, no numbing, nothing like that, right? So it's a great opportunity to take it and use it as a practice. And I love that you do that too. I do the same thing. So yeah, the group 1, which was the novices, the normal people, as you said.
The novices.
That's how he referred to them. Group 1.
Yeah.
Their amygdala fired right away, right? And whenever we have a fear response, it's our amygdala firing. It's part of the brain. And he talked a lot about it in this chapter. A lot. So their amygdala fired right away. And they were experiencing, prior to the painful experience, they were experiencing anxiety, fear, all these different feelings that come along with that. So they're already stirred up before that hot probe, whatever, hits their skin. And he said, the monks, so he described it as the group 1, they're dealing with the pain before, during, and after. But right?
The monks are only dealing with, go ahead.
The monks are only experiencing the pain as it comes. And as it arises, right? They use it as that opportunity to feel it, right? And that stress response might fire, right? But they've incorporated through this other part of the brain, I forget what it was, the PCF or something like that. They said, no, we don't need to fire this right now. Everything's okay. Right? So their body's not having this reaction. And it's the same thing with a tattoo, man. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Your body can have all sorts of reactions from getting a tattoo because you're sitting there and you're resisting it or trying to suppress it, or you're in fear before, during, and after. You're anxious. All your body's going through like hell, basically, on the biggest organ. It's your body's biggest organ, your skin. So it's very, very interesting. I thought it was funny that we both thought of tattoos because it's so true,
I also thought of an ice bath.
Yeah.
When I've not lasted, when I've only lasted half or 30 seconds in, I was about to say half an hour, 30 seconds in an ice bath, I'll be like, all right, just like 30 seconds, just like get in. It's good. Like I'll ruminate and remnant, like, I don't know if that's the right word, but I'll kind of like, I'll stir and just be within that like discomfort instead of separating and just breathing and like thinking about something else, or like, and that's when I last the least amount of time, is like when I'm just like, I psych myself up for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's so cold. Like, can't wait to get in the sauna, instead of actually embracing it and being present. And then that's when I'll last like a minute or two,
Yeah.
So,
and I'm going to quote the book here. I'm going to quote the book, and I thought it was a great quote. Group 2 was able to turn an automatic reaction, right? We all have an automatic reaction to pain. So group 2 turned an automatic reaction into a thoughtful response. So they had the automatic reaction, oh my God, I'm experiencing pain, but they turned it into a thoughtful response. Okay, so you're taking the time to understand what you're going through, you're responding, you're creating that separation. You talked a lot about creating separation between the time of the experience and the time that you respond. And that separation is like a peaceful moment of contemplation prior to reacting or responding. Right? There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is almost instant, impulsive, but responding It's more meticulous, caring. So I really liked that example. What else do you have here? I wrote down this little note. Affective inertia is an inability to let go of a sensation or emotion that has taken hold of our brain, right? And we were talking about this even before we started the podcast. Remember? We were on the phone and you were like, yeah, dude, sometimes I know like when you feel a certain way towards someone and it's hard to let go of that. You know what I mean? And you just act a certain way because of how you're feeling, and that person might notice, right? So I struggle with this a lot, actually. And it's interesting, and I'm glad that this brought it up. And he put a name to it, right? Affective inertia is how it's described.
Was he saying this was a bad thing, or?
Yes. Affective inertia is an inability to let go of a sensation or emotion that has taken a hold of our brain. So say something happens, right? Say I'm going to throw Rowan on the hot seat. Okay. Are you ready?
Okay.
So say you're seeing this girl and you've been seeing this girl for about a month and she does something. When you're out to dinner, she flirts with another guy. But that's just how her personality is, right?
Okay, was she actually flirting, or was she like just?
She's like being like flirtatious, right?
Okay.
And now you feel it, and you're like, you have an emotional response to that situation, and it's stirring in your head. You finish dinner, you pay the bill, you get in the taxi, you go home. Now you're at home, you know, you might crack a bottle of wine and, you know, you need to shower, but you're still you're not talking very much. You're kind of just pissed. You're trying to hide it, mask how you're feeling because you don't want to communicate how you're feeling because you think it's an insecurity and you shouldn't feel this way. So you're just sitting and you're stirring and you're stewing and you're just affective.
Yeah. So I'm staying with you here because this happens to me sometimes. Go ahead.
This happens to me a lot, and that's why I connected with it. And I think it's very interesting. So now you go to bed and you're all fucking pissed off. And then the next day she might ask you, hey, everything okay? You seem off. You seem a little different. Now you have an opportunity to either say, yes, something did happen last night when we were at dinner. You know, you saw your friend Johnny and you fucking were a little too friendly with him and I didn't like that. You could communicate how you feel. Or you could say, no, nothing. I've done this so many times in past relationships, nothing, no. Ice out, fucking create the wall. That just separates you from that person even further. You know what I mean? But it's that affective inertia.
What's the right approach, though? What's the right approach?
In that current or in that specific situation, I think the right approach would be to talk about how you're feeling and communicate. Even if you feel as if it is an insecurity, because you're never going to get over that insecurity if you don't communicate it and have someone either talk some fucking sense into you or console you and support you and make you feel better about it. Because if you just have that same response, same reaction, you ice out, you ignore it, you let it go, and then, you know, next week it doesn't even matter. You're just going to respond like that the same exact way the next time. But say you communicated how you feel and she said, no, that's just how I am, blah, 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 whatever. And you actually come to a conclusion and you feel better about the whole thing. Next time she sees Johnny out, you don't react the same way. Or you just realize that's something I don't like in the person. This isn't going to work out. We shouldn't date. Right?
Yeah.
If it's like an actual thing that, you know, isn't, it's just something that, you know, you can't really deal with. But yeah, I just wanted to create a scenario, put Ron on the hot seat a little, put him on the simmer pot, get him going. How do you feel about that? Do you ever experience that?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's hard when like something like, I think you and I are similar like that. Like for example, when we were driving cross country, like if I pissed you off or something, and then it's relative. I've been there too, or like I've just gotten in a mood and like something happened and I won't let it go, and I'll just continue to kind of give attitude instead of actually addressing it in the moment, dude. Or like, for example, when we were driving cross country, it happened a few times, and like you would kind of be short with me, like for the next hour, dude. I could just tell like maybe what I did, like you didn't like completely say, hey, here's what I'm feeling and because why, but like something was off, and then you just like decided to like sit with it and just like get pissed.
Yep.
And I've been there too, but like that's what I'm thinking of.
When you came home at like 7 a.m. But dude, by the end of the trip, okay? By the end of that trip, man. That was such a good trip, dude. That was such a good trip.
Great.
By the end of that trip, man, I feel like we got through that, right? So now we had gotten to a point where we realized like, okay, just fucking get it out of the way. Say, hey, this is it. Boom. Create the boundary. Boom.
Well, we had a successful Hawaii trip. Great trip.
Yep.
And then we just carried it over into that trip. And then the next trip. Come on, dude. We still got it's TBD on the next trip. When is it and where, kid? Come on.
Where are we going? Strike it. Strike mission. Yep. Yeah, so I really liked that about the chapter. That was effective inertia. So I jotted that down.
One thing. Yeah.
What do you got?
I just want to be conscious of time. I know trying to squeeze in everything here, but respond to reality.
I was literally just about to read that.
Yeah.
Respond to reality.
There he is. There's his notes. Yep. For most of us, we're not only responding to the actual stress, but the reverberations of it. And this is exactly what we just touched on. The one event that really stressed you out or like pissed you off, it may be that if you don't address that with that person, the next time you guys chat, it will be even greater, times two. And then the response won't, the action won't be in line with the correct, like the response you should have, right? Because of you're holding on to that.
What's the reality of the situation?
Yeah, what's the reality? The reality for the reality of the situation, that you shouldn't have that type of response is what I'm trying to say, because you should have already talked about it. So tough individuals learn to match perception with reality so that they marshal the appropriate response instead of an exaggerated one.
And he talked a lot about this in the beginning of the book. What is the reality? Yep. What's the reality? You need to be able to comprehend what's going on to understand it and respond in a way that is appropriate. So, yeah, I think that's great. And then, dude, he fired off so many exercises at the end of the chapter. So many exercises. I recommend, if you're not reading along, just finding all these different exercises. I wrote down one. Do you want me to read one?
Yes.
Exercise 1. Step 1. Spend time alone in your head. Okay? He talked about solitary confinement and a silent retreat. One of them, you're intentionally being silent and putting yourself in solitude, right? And it's beneficial. The other one, you're being forced into solitary and darkness and depression, and fucking, it's supposed to remind you who's boss and be a very painful experience that causes PTSD in some cases. So be alone in your head. A lot of people a lot of people choose to avoid this, right?
Yep.
And step 2 would be keep your mind steady. So the exercise is perform a task where you usually utilize distractions. An example would be music while driving or scrolling on your phone after work. Okay? And then step 2 of that exercise would be notice where your attention goes when you remove that from the situation. So if I'm driving and I usually listen to music, I'm going to remove that and I'm going to play nothing. Right? And now it's just me driving. And
that's the problem. Yeah.
Now let me just get through the steps.
Yep.
Now I'm going to notice where my attention goes. Okay. And then step 3 is nudge your attention to stay fully on task. So when you feel the urge to put on music or roll down the windows or whatever, just bring yourself back. Say, no, I'm driving. I'm driving right now, you know? Or you're doing the dishes. No, I'm doing the dishes. Nudge yourself to stay on task. And then step number 4, this kind of came out of the blue. Practice directing your attention in the opposite way. So allow your mind to be distracted. So that way you can kind of compare and contrast, right? And the people who are used to getting home from work and scrolling all the time, obviously they're going to choose that 10 out of 10 times. But it's about putting yourself in these uncomfortable positions intentionally and redirecting your focus to the present moment and the task at hand, whatever that task may be. The task could just be sitting with your thoughts, looking out a window. The task could be sitting with your eyes closed in a chair outside in the sun. The task could be vacuuming, doing the dishes, right? All these things. So, but he wants you to choose a specific task that you usually have a distraction while doing. So for me, it'd be, I guess music while driving would be the best one, right?
Yeah, and I just thought about that, dude. I'm like, yeah, there's so many things here that woke me up to like, okay, hey, I'm really not sitting with myself being silent as I should, because this is exactly what I need to practice for me, and so I'm gonna use a lot of these. And go ahead, I didn't mean to pipe in there, but
no, that's great, dude. I love that. So that's the exercise. Try it. It's a great thing. I've been doing this for a really, really long time, even before reading this book. So I smiled reading this. Do you want to take one of these? I know you got to go to your men's league game here, but do you want to read one more exercise for the viewers here? One that you really liked?
We'll love to, brother. There's the mistake watching, but I mean, that's good.
Your favorite one?
Yeah, one that I'm going to use actually, guys, in my practice, in Quad Shop podcast practice, okay, guys, is exercise, noticing practice boredom. Sit quietly in a room with minimal distraction. Sit with eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter, okay? You'll start to feel different sensations, which may then turn into positive or negative thoughts. Sit with them. Don't focus on them or try to push them away. See where your mind jumps to. If you feel an urge to stop or check a phone, experience it. Don't fight it. See if it dissipates or grows stronger over time. Remember, the key isn't resisting. We're just trying to get your mind to experience the sensations and thoughts and not jump to a freak out. So that's, when you start the exercise, aim for 5 minutes. You can gradually lengthen the exercise to 15 to 20. And I've noticed that I'm at my most peaceful when I start to read, when I read this and I sit down at the end of the day, no phone, no screen time, no headaches from doing my phone reels or whatever this shit is. And I read this book for our podcast, and I'm with myself, I'm in my thoughts, but I'm just relaxed. And I there's not a bunch of lights going on. It's just me and my thoughts in the book. And I know obviously I'm reading instead of doing the full practice, but I'm going to start to incorporate this. And I am someone who needs this. My brain is go, go, go. I have a lot on my mind. I do fill a lot of space, right, with different activities. So for me to be content and calm, I think, and to feel good, I think it's a great practice. So I'm excited to use this one. And that's the one that the key takeaway for me, because in our day and age, everyone's scrolling or on TikTok, or it's all, at the end of the day, it's kind of all just immediate gratification, immediate just substance to keep your mind busy, because you don't want to deal or sit with what's going on. So
that's one that
I recommend.
My mom had a summer solstice party last night, and we actually talked a lot about this, the instant gratification and everything like that, and how prevalent it is this day and age, and how kids are just like ingrained to, experience that. And these exercises are really here to combat that sort of thing. And I think it's very, very important. So thank you for bringing that to the table. It is now our time limit here. I want you to go.
So guys,
Yeah, it was a great episode. I want you to go kill it in that men's league game. You know, I want you to go get a big gulp on the way and maybe just fucking. I want you to just chug it down, just gulp it down, kid, and I want you to hit a dinger. Just a dinger.
Dinger kid?
Yeah, I want you to hit a dinger, you know, fucking outside of the bar. Yeah, no. Great episode, man. As always, I appreciate you showing up, showing out, and all your little insights. I appreciate them very much.
You as well, bro.
Yep.
Hey, I'm glad we got it. Even though it was wicked early for me over here and still a little sluggish, that big gulp didn't really completely hit. We still got our episode in. We're consistent, and appreciate you for that. So thank you.
Yeah. You know, to our little community, much love. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. We will be back next week with another episode. And yeah, I hope everyone has a beautiful and blessed week. This is Squat Shop Podcast signing off.
Over now.